Hello everyone, this is Miss LJ. In today's video, we are going to introduce part 4 evaluation checklist, okay, for the IBDP Physics IA Writing. We're going to look at the criteria over here. The first one, in this part, you will expect to identify, to talk about your evaluation and then give some improvement based on your investigations. So the first thing you need to do is you need to identify specific weakness. It's difficult to give example over here because it really depends on the topic and the investigations that you have done, but I'm going to just give you some guidelines on how to evaluate or identify the weakness. Okay, if you have no idea, then you could use this guideline over here. The first one is, usually we will start with the instrumental precisions, right? So you can think about the instrument you use, how accurate it is, does it have a limit accuracy, and how it can be replaced with a more accurate devices. And then another aspect that you could think about is procedural flow, like in the entire process, in the steps or the methodologies, or the actions that you take, whether it will affect the uncertainty of your data. And the last one is human factor, right? So when you actually doing this experiment, there are some limitation. For example, the reaction time will affect the time recalling and measurements, or different people, when you conduct the same experiment, then they will have some uncertainty, and those are the human factor. So think about this three aspects, okay, to find out and identify the weakness. Now the second part is to discuss the number 2 is relative impact. Have you explained the impact of each limitations on the accuracy, positions, or validity of your data? So over here we actually need to know the differences between limitation and weakness. So weakness is something that you did very well and that you can improve and need to pay attention next time, right? But limitation is something that kind of due to the flaw of the system. It's something that you might not be able to change, but you have awareness of this limitation, and then you discuss this in your evaluation part. Okay, the example of that one would be, so if you were using a stopwatch to recording the time, and the stopwatch were cause some significant random error, right? Because make it difficult to measure the time accuracy. Another examples I would like to show over here is, very often if you're doing the investigation, you were using the models. For example, this is the models that one of my students is used to investigate the circular motion, right? So over here, the limitation of the system is that the height, so for example, he is investigating that if he released the ball at a different height, okay, and then he will observe the minimum radius over here needed for the ball to go around, okay? So he will investigate the relationship between the edge and the radius over here. So this system that he uses is based on this model, right? So this limitation of the model is there is a maximum height. So it's kind of difficult to investigate a height that more than 20 centimeter, right? 20 centimeter. And that is the limitation of the investigation. It's something that you can't really change, but you have aware this, and you can talk about this in your evaluation and then discuss the relative impact, okay? Impact of this one. Another example would be, say, this one, okay? So this example over here, he's using the system to investigate the height over here. We're going to affect the flow rate of water. Now, the limitation of the system is the tube is not bendable. So this is a limitation of the system. And then the significance, and then the effect of the error would be cause the uncertainty of the velocity of water flow to increase, right? It will increase the uncertainty of the water flow. And then possible improvement over here maybe by changing the system of materials over here. It's good organization. So talk about identify the sources, and then talk about the effect of the error, and then the possible improvement. Okay, so this is also a good example to show you how to organize your discussions and make it more clear and visible. So after you identify the weakness due to some human actions and steps, and some limitation due to the system, then you kind of have talked about most of the things or most of the aspects that you need to improve. And after that, try to make it connection. Try to make connections to the result. Okay, so the purpose of talking about the weakness and limitation is to identify or to discuss how significant it is to affect your validity of your result, right? So do you link the limitations to the specific result, and showing how this might have influenced your result? So this will make your report or investigations more in depth, and to get a higher mark on the evaluation part. An example would be, as we show over here, see in this example, talk about the effect low significant. Okay, so some of the error or some of the limitation has low significance, but some of the weakness has median, and some has high significances, and how it was affect further discussion on how it affected your result. Okay, you see over here, the number intercept predict by the line of best fit might be caused by this systematic error. So in this example, he's talking about the systematic error that he showed in his data, in his result, this number. Okay, this number over here is his systematic error might caused by this weakness. Okay, so link the weakness to the result, and that's what you need to do after you have evaluated all the weakness. Other than that, number 4, what else you can do is to talking about the broader implication. Okay, so have you discussed the broader implication of your finding, considering the limitation? So after you have discussed the limitation, so do you think that your result is reliable, is valid, is it able to apply to a broader implication, right? Because your conclusion is derived from a range of data, right? A range of data. And also your range of the data has limitation, right? In fact or despite of the limitation, or after you talk about this limitation, and then do you think that your result was able to apply to a broader implication? And this is also part of the evaluation. You kind of like evaluate your result. And this is the part that a lot of students is missing in their report, okay? Then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all about evaluation. And then after you have done the evaluation, and then you start to continue to give some improvement or propose the improvement to your evaluation, right? So the first criteria of the improvement is it has to be a feasibility, okay? And that is very important. You could have, you need to suggest for each evaluation, you need to suggest an improvement that is realistic, okay, within the scope of your investigation. Avoid suggestions and solutions that are impractical or unrelated, okay. The impractical one would be, I'm going to give an example, like a student would say that I'm going to replace this measuring device with some more advanced technique, but this more advanced technique has not even been invented, okay? And that is impractical. You have to be realistic, okay? We're going to show you an example of a realistic improvement over here, and we're using this examples again. So for this one, we have talked about the limitation of the system, right? So in the evaluation part, the students have suggest that the foundation's design characterized by a fixed patterns of whole, blah blah blah, okay, impose constraint on the track customization, okay, so limitation over here. Now a potential solutions involve that making a 3D printing and computer aided design, okay, to fabricate a foundation that offer a greater flexibilities and precisions in track configuration. This is possible, right? And it is not like beyond the imagination. We go back to the checklist over here. So make sure it is feasible and realistic, and then talk about the prioritization, okay? Which one is most significant, okay? Because the after you have complete or discuss your weakness, and for some limitation or weakness, it has a significant impact on your result, okay? But some of that can be ignored, right? So you have to have some priority on the most significant one, and to discuss more on your improvement. Then number 5, what to improve. It also depends on your evaluation and the type of that lab that you have done. So over here, I'm just going to give you some guideline, and hopefully that can help you to think about some strategy and steps. If you have no idea how to improve your procedures or your investigation, you could think about this 4 aspects. So the first one would be replacing manual timing. So by timing here, we could change timing into measuring device, right? So all the measuring device, manual measuring device can be changed into electronic or digital sensor, because usually electronic sensor is more accurate than the manual device. But for some schools and labs, they might not have this device, right? Might not available. So that's limitation of your condition, or and that's something that you could improve and make a suggestion in your report. Another similar aspect would be using a data logger device, right? Because when you measure something, if you measure, there will be some human reaction time or some human caused uncertainty. If we were using a data logger device, and this to replace the human or manually measuring. So this is talking about the method, okay? And the first one over here talking about device, measuring device. And over here we were talking about the method, right? So if you, instead of you doing this and you use a data logger to do that, then it will make your data more accurate. Another things you could talk about is numbers of the trail. It is always a safe one to say, but it does not add a lot of credit to your improvement. But if you do not have repeat measurement, and that will affect your report and grade significantly, right? So increase the number of the trail. For example, you only choose 6 set of data, right? And you could change 6 set of data to 9 set of data, because of course more set of data will be more reliable to get a conclusion, right? If you do not do the repeat measurements, and then you should do more repeat measurement to get a more accurate numbers of data. So number of trail is something you could discuss as well. And then the other one is a controlled environment. Okay, I'm going to use the blue line. When you're doing your experiment, you usually have this in an environment, right? And for some experiment, maybe the environment has low impact on your data. But for some experiment that, for example, you need to control the temperature, humidity, airflow of the environment, then this environment would have significant impact on your experiment. And this is something that you could propose in your improvement, right? And to make it into a control environment, say you put your system and apparatus in a transparent containers, right, to avoid the water, to avoid the airflow, the impact of the airflow, for example. Okay, so the 4 aspects that I propose here, it's kind of general, right? But you could use this guideline to think about what you could do and what you can propose more specifically with regard to your experiment. And the last one, number 8, overall reflection. It is the part that a lot of students, actually 80% of students, are missing in the evaluation part. But this is a part that will add credit to your evaluation. The overall reflection over here means that the methodologies refer to the overall approaches to the investigation as well as the procedural steps, right? So very often, you know, you need to evaluate your data and your steps and your procedures and your measuring your action. But very often you forgot to evaluate the entire methodology of your experiment. This overall reflections is something that will add credit to your report. Okay, we're going to stop here in this videos, and I hope that this whole set of videos will provide you some helpful guideline to write your IA report.